this is a Safariland product. As you can see, I have it on this blue gun, or technically it's orange, but I have it on a training pistol. But this is a pistol mount, or I guess you could use it for rifles as well. But this is a mount that's designed to go on a gun. So it's designed to go on a gun. It's also designed to go on a belt, and as a belt mounted option, it kind of works pretty well. It comes with a little Picatinny rail slot that goes on your belt. Then you slide it, you know, either up or down, whichever way you want, and then you just kind of rock it over to the side, and then it locks in place, kind of like this. You can see this little section right here fits through there and locks on the Picatinny rail section, and then it locks on your belt. So it works pretty well as a belt mounted flashlight, or a way to hold a belt and a flashlight if you don't want to use a pouch or something like that. Every now and then, if you are getting in and out of vehicles and stuff, once these gets loose and kind of worn out, it'll unclip itself and it'll slide right off. So if you have it face down like this, just know it'll slide off your belt. So if you store it face up, it has less likelihood of doing that. So just know that. However you store it, you may be interested in that information. But how this thing works is it slides on here. And don't forget, this is a very old design. I think this came out probably in the early 2000s, and it was designed to be used with a smaller flashlight, not a big monstrosity like this. Well, I say monstrosity. This is not that big of a flashlight. To give you an example, here's a Streamlight what is this thing? This is the ProTac, the HLX model, rail mount model. So to give you an idea, like this is about the same size flashlight. So it's designed to be used with a very small flashlight that was only like 150 or 200 lumens back in the day. That was smaller than this. So with that size flashlight in mind, this would probably be fine and not have the issues it does, because this flashlight weighs probably 2 to 3 times as much as that one does. But the problem with this light, one, is whenever you're using a proper gripper and you're trying to grip over here, it's in a good spot for your left hand to actually press the thumb, but you have to break your grip, so that's kind of annoying. Also, it's in the way of your thumb, so if you try to put your thumb on top, you're going to end up making the problem worse by pushing this down and unlocking, which is possible under recoil. So your thumb doesn't really know what to do unless you kind of push your thumbs up out of the way, or you can do like a grip like this, but then you have to break your grip in a weird way. So I don't like that. If you rock it to the other side, now it's in the way of your trigger finger. So now you got to go around this thing in order to try to, fire the gun. So if you're trying to use any sort of proper trigger discipline, I guess you could put it off to the side if you really want to. That's really uncomfortable. And you could put it down here, but then your finger's actually over the trigger guard, which I don't like. And up here is kind of, swing it all the way around. So that's obnoxious over here as well. And the main problem I have with this light isn't necessarily that. Like, that's annoying, but you can get around it, I guess. One, you have to take the time to take this off your belt, slide it on your gun, rock it, and then go. And so that takes time. It's not readily available immediately. And two, and I'll show you a video clip here now after I talk about this. This light, because I think the weight of this light will slowly, or this mount will slowly go down like this, in which case it unlocks somewhere right around here. So if it moves down this far at all, again, here's fully locked. If it moves down to about here, you can slide it off. So it's no longer locked in place. And under recoil, even under simunition training, this light will fall off after about usually 4 or 5 shots. Usually after about 2 or 3 shots, you notice it down here. And if you think about it, you can pop it back up. So I'm going to try to hold my thumb up and out of the way, because it might be pressing down on it from this side. I don't know, but there's nowhere else to put my thumb. So we're just going to try it and see what it does. Okay, so that's what it normally does. I don't know if you can see it right here. It's already unlocked and it's sliding forward. So probably another 5, 6, 7 rounds and it would have just plopped off on the ground. So just so you know. But usually by the end of it, it's usually down here and it's usually kind of sliding off already. I've noticed it many times right here where it's on the edge. I'm like, oh no, I almost lost it, and I put it back on. So that's annoying. So if you catch it, you can fix it, but then you got to stick your hand in front of the muzzle in order to put the flashlight back on, which is dumb. Also, if you're going to be running around or moving at all with this thing and it's anywhere near the unlock position, it's going to come flying right off. On here, it's a little bit snugger than what it is on, like, say, a regular Glock. Right now, all my Glocks have a flashlight mounted on them, and I don't want to take it off, so this is just to kind of demonstrate it. So, for the time when this thing came out, which, again, I think was probably in the early 2000s before flashlights got really, really bright and there was no real good dedicated pistol light mount option, this would have been a decent choice. But they still make this thing. It hasn't been discontinued as far as I'm aware. I don't know why they still make this thing. I'm sure somebody uses it. Now, I will say it is a good option for a belt if you want to use it for that. It's a pretty good option for that. And it also gives you a way to mount something on a Picatinny rail, like on a rifle. So if for some reason you have to store your rifle somewhere where there's not enough room to also have a flashlight on it, I don't know if it won't fit or something like that, like this would be a decent option for that as well. But really, I don't think that's great either. I think you should probably just go ahead and get yourself a dedicated rifle light and figure out a mount that will work with that. One of the other things too is this will fit around most, I think, 1-inch flashlights, but you might have to wrap it in tape in order to keep it from sliding. So it's just, in my opinion, not a good option. But anyways, if you have any questions about this specifically, again, this is not a video to necessarily suggest or recommend this, but it's just kind of a video to warn you if you're looking at getting something like this, what the drawbacks. One other thing I forgot to mention is also if you have to reholster your gun quickly, first you gotta, again, take this off, mount this to your belt, and then you can holster your gun. So that's kind of obnoxious as well. Also, another negative to this is if you are using this light, you know, say in security or if you're a law enforcement officer or whatever, and you're using this as your belt light, you know, you're going to be using this thing to look around all the time, which means you're going to be wearing the batteries out. Now, if you check the batteries, you know, every so often, then you'll probably be fine. But I like having a dedicated weapon light on my gun that I know is going to be fresh with batteries and it's going to be, you know, full brightness, versus pulling this thing out after using it for a while, forgetting, oh no, the batteries are getting dim on this thing, and then I have a dim light on here because my, you know, patrol light is the same as my weapon light. So I just think that's a bad idea. But that was something else that I thought I would mention. Now, one thing I will give this as a pro for this thing, well, one, it's bulky, but as a pro, that would have been a negative, but as a pro, you can put a really bright flashlight in this thing. So if you have a really small but just crazy bright, like kind of 1-inch flashlight, you know, in theory you could mount it in here. Maybe you wouldn't have the same problems if it was lighter than this one. I don't know, maybe Olight or somebody makes one that's just like really bright and small, I don't know. But that would be a positive, is you might be able to get a brighter light than, you know, what comes like a TLR1 HL or a Streamlight or the Surefire X300, something like that, which they're around, you know, 1,000 lumens or so. You might be able to get, you know, say a 2,000 lumen or a 1,500 lumen light to mount in here. So that would be, I guess, one potential advantage. But you still run into the problems that I've had with this, of it falling, you know, getting unlocked and falling off the gun under recoil. And I don't say that lightly. Like, I know I didn't show it on video, and I apologize for that. Just didn't have time to go out to the range and waste enough ammo just to try to prove that that's what it does. But even under simunition rounds on sim guns, this flashlight will fall off, and I've had it fall off many a times during training. So that is something just to take note as well. And it's fallen off whenever I take it to the range and shoot with live guns as well. And that's with multiple different mounts, because I usually replace these whenever they start getting worn out. They get really loosey-goosey. I get another one, and that one's good for probably about a month or two before it needs replaced again. All right, so one issue, I moved it over to the other side so y'all can see it in the light, but my trigger finger that I'm trying to put in a safe position has nowhere to go because this is in the way. So if I move it to the other side, then my grip is messed up, and I can't put my thumb anywhere. So just, I'll put it over here and try not to screw myself up. Actually staying on this side. Oh, it stayed. These things are like $80, which is ridiculously stupid expensive for 2 pieces of plastic and a screw. You can buy a good weapon mounted light for $80. Like, you can find a TLR1, just a standard TLR1, on sale usually for less than that. You can probably get a TLR1 HL. Again, maybe not right now, but usually if you can find, you know, like a Black Friday sale or something, you can find them for probably around $90. So for the same price as an entire flashlight, I think this is just dumb. It's antiquated. I think it should be discontinued. Not to mention, then you also have to pay for the flashlight itself. So anyways, if you guys enjoy this kind of video, sorry, I didn't mean to just make a negative review of this necessarily, but I think it's important for me to share my experience with things that I don't like, because it'll prevent you from spending money or, you know, buying something that you're going to regret down the road and then not be able to do anything with it.